This video is sponsored by MaximumPerformanceHeroes.com. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Today's video is actually sponsored by MaximumPerformanceHeroes.com, and let me tell you that because of them, I was actually able to get these parts here today. So let's open this up. I haven't even opened this box up yet. So let's see what's inside here and see what we're going to be replacing. Much anticipated, today I'm going to be replacing the fuel injectors. I actually got the fuel injectors here. This is going to be going towards trying to go down that rabbit hole of the P2A00 code, and this was on the checklist of things that could be wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and be replacing this and sealing it all the way back up again and running it and seeing if the injectors were actually it or not. So these were on eBay. They were a great deal, but they also came with, again, a decent warranty. So because of that, I went with it, and here we are, and I am super happy to put these on today. And just that quickly, we're at the fuel injectors. I do believe that would be an OEM fuel injector, so I'm going to go ahead and start ripping this rail up and keeping the actual intake manifold down so that I don't have to replace these little gaskets in between there, because right now I am, as you see, running the orange gasket that fits all. So because I'm doing that, I'm just going to go ahead, and once this whole problem is actually solved, then I'll go back and clean it up and make it right to where, you know, it looks pristine with the correct gaskets. But for now, I don't want to keep ruining a set of gaskets every time I go in here because I think it's this or that. So because of where we're at, I'm going to go ahead, rip these two rails up, and start putting on these new fuel injectors, which just so happen to match my intake. That really does match pretty darn close. Alright, here is the new fuel injector, and I'm just doing a test run for the wiring harness to make sure that they clip in, which it looks like it's going to perfectly. So I'm gonna let that be cause as a win and keep going. And with that, the fuel rail is now loose. I'm going to be cleaning those little orifices out just to make sure that each and every one of those are up to standard and don't have any debris in the way that is going to cause any drivability issues. So cleaning the orifices, dropping those clips off of there, and now putting on new fuel injectors, hopefully not to put too much fuel all over my hands because I haven't ran the vehicle today, so technically there shouldn't be any fuel pressure behind this or anything, so hopefully not. Here we go. And I've got my Lucas Assembly lube ready to go. I actually still see traces of that assembly lube down in the actual holes right there from last time of replacing the actual injector, so I think that's pretty good. I've ran this vehicle almost every day since then. Alright, now that all the injectors are all replaced, let's go ahead and get this pushed back into the actual manifold. So usually I have this all covered up and trying to do this nicely, but when you don't have things covered up and do things nicely, you tend to have bolts that go down in the wrong place. So just keep that in mind. I'm gonna go get a grabber, get that out of there, no biggie. So I'll grab that out of there and make sure that these O-rings are sitting nice and flush and flat, and continue. Once I get these all seated and done, before I actually put the intake manifold on or together, I'm going to key on. Obviously not try to start the motor because it's not going to run right. But I am going to check for leaks just with the key on, engine off. That's a very helpful hint. You may have to actually go back and obviously erase a bunch of codes that may pop up because you have half of the freaking motor apart, but you at least get to see that the fuel pressure is actually up and you don't have any leaks and you don't have a whole bunch of bolts to go back. I don't hear very much of any of a fluctuation in the actual RPM like it was before. Like, it was having a little bit of an issue trying to keep it the direct right idle, so it was idling up and down just a little bit more than I would usually notice, but now that sounds pretty darn even. Check this out from the backside. I only hear the slightest little bumble that's going on in there. So I'm so happy. When I first started it, I had to clear the codes, obviously, but I forgot to connect the other side of the PVC, so there was a pretty darn good intake leak. So that was instantly fixed just by pushing that onto the PCV valve right there. Problem solved. Temporarily still using the orange gasket in between there, and I even put a little bit of gasket orange right there just so those screws weren't the issue whatsoever. So now I'm going to go ahead and actually take this thing around the block and see how it feels. You were probably wondering, how did that fuel injector replacement actually work out, and did it do anything towards that P2A00? Well, I am steadily putting miles on right now, but as of this point, let me tell you that this is so much better. The OEM fuel injectors that were in here were definitely on their way out. They were starting to pulse and starting to chug along, as I felt on, let's say, fourth gear, just kind of low RPM or something like that. It just didn't want to come up smoothly, so to speak, just doing that butt dyno thing again. So I could feel that. I didn't know what it was. There were no codes that pertain to it, directly, but overall though, I just replaced those with some eBay replacements, and wow, this thing did a relearn on itself, just sitting here idling for 15 minutes, and after that it started running really good. So I'm going to continue driving this, and of course I'm going to be keeping an eye out for any kind of check engine light on this thing, especially for the P2A00. This might be the actual problem. I will definitely keep you guys updated. Once again, I wanted to give a huge shout out to MaximumPerformanceHeroes.com for helping me actually get these parts here today. That was amazing and a huge help, more than you actually know. If you have time, check out the link in the description. Go check them out. They're actually worth checking out, so please do. Let them know that Everyday Trey sent you. Either way, I super appreciate you guys watching and supporting the channel. It's getting ready to be a very rainy night here in Florida, so I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like, and I really do hope that every last one of you have a wonderful day. Until the next one, have a good one.